Hi, I'm Hercu Rabsatt. I am the Director of Infrastructure and Service Management for Mansfield Oil. We are a 3.1 billion gallon organization from a fuel distribution perspective. We're about 100 times bigger than our average competitor. And from a Fortune 500 perspective, we service UPS, FedEx, Walmart, Costco, just to name a few. I think some of the valuable features are now we're able to regain ROI off of our Tier 1 environment. So we're able to take archive data, legacy data, put that on, give it retention tagging and retention timelines, and then it'll be able to be purged at a later date. Instead of using up our Tier 1 storage, which is about $1.45 a gigabyte, we're able to leverage Tier 2 storage with dedupe and compression at 35 cents to 45 cents a gigabyte. So that to us just made sense. In terms of benefits that we're definitely seeing improved backup times. We went from 2.5 hours to 4 hours for backups down to under 10 minutes. So the amount of recouped administration time that we're gaining is astronomical. From a stability perspective, I think StoreOnce has definitely been extremely stable for us. Like I said before, we didn't really have a DR, DP solution. And I think it really complements our blade environment in taking a lot of the data that we have around the organization that's legacy, and looking at last touch date, things of that nature. We're able to really leverage archiving now, and that's something we weren't able to do before because we were keeping all of our backups in our Tier 1 storage. We really didn't have a location to really have an enterprise data recovery and data protection strategy, and now we do. From a scalability perspective, some of the things that are intriguing to me are we have the ability to scale as the business needs, and we can also contract, so we can be fluid, right? We can move when the business needs us to move. We can back up. We can make sure that we have all the pertinent data that the organization needs, and also have the ability to restore it quickly and not tie up production systems and production storage while doing that. Technical support, I think HP by far has some of the best technical support I've ever encountered. I was just telling a story this morning in regards to how we started doing business with HP. HP came out and serviced us, and we weren't even under contract. The same day, same night, and made sure our organization was whole come the next day. And for an $8 billion company, that really resonated with us. So that's really was the precursor to our decision to move forward with HP, and we've been really happy ever since. From a feature functionality perspective, I think overall, having some more mobility tied into it, having the ability to have applications that you can use on the go that can give you kind of an overlay of the overall health and welfare of your data protection and data recovery strategy. Being able to do simple things like having runbooks. I think those are some of the things that we definitely want to get into. I'd like to see that develop a lot more. From a solutions perspective, in terms of what we're doing from data protection and data recovery, we knew that we needed to have a Tier 2 solution in terms of storage. We looked at many different avenues within the market, and we really felt that from an ROI perspective and a total cost of ownership perspective, that HP StoreOnce was really the way we needed to go. So we built our data protection and data recovery strategy around that using HP and Veeam. So that actually helped us to build RTOs, RPOs, and real SLAs and OLAs from a restoration perspective to the business. In looking at criteria from a Tier 2 storage perspective in terms of data protection and data recovery, I think cost was definitely one of the factors that we looked at. We looked at response time, we looked at integration ability, and I think coupling that with the environment that we had, we're a 98% virtualized organization from a virtual server perspective. And I think tying that into our already HP environment really kind of weighed on the decision for us to move in the StoreOnce direction. It just made more sense from an ecosystem perspective. It plays better together. There were other vendors in the short list, and to be completely honest, they paled in comparison. We were actually considering an EMC product, Data Domain, and Data Domain and Exagrid, and they just didn't have the compute power or the price point that we really wanted to be in. So we just leveraged the HP relationship that we already had and went complete StoreOnce, and we've been extremely happy with it so far. I think in terms of the way that we feel, or the way that I feel about StoreOnce, I think it definitely provided us with the opportunity to give the business something it never had before, and that is a true guarantee to the data that we have, right? So we're able to really protect and fortify our archive data instead of not being able to restore in times when we actually need to have the data available. So for me, I think if I was to rate StoreOnce from a scale to 1 to 10, I'd say definitely a 10. Researching advice I'd give to my peers, I would definitely say do your homework, do a true comparison between everybody in the market. That way you'll actually be able to see the benefit that HP provides at the cost point, at the total cost of ownership, ROI, and also from a performance perspective as well. Depending on who you're using from a backup solution perspective, StoreOnce is going to work with anyone. Getting a full understanding of who the players are in the market, you're going to see that HP is definitely major players in that space. Really understand your business, really understand what your strategic goals are, really understand where you're going from an organizational perspective. That will give you insight into how you build your data protection and data recovery strategy. Some of the things that we did, we sat down with operations, we sat down with legal, we sat down with finance, and we defined what that was as an organization before we ever started looking. So definitely do your homework. Make sure you understand where your business is going before you go get a solution. In researching solutions, I think peer reviews are definitely important. I think knowing for yourself is also important. But definitely do your research, definitely listen to what the market is saying, and above all else, go see it for yourself. Take a demo, look at it, look at what they're saying, help them prove it to you. Really understand, again, what your requirements are and how the solution maps back to your requirements. It's really all about that. If it's a map and it maps back, you got to be able to prove what in the solution maps back to what your requirement is. Leveraging data from your peers is definitely important, but making sure that you truly understand what your requirements are and what in the solution maps back to your requirements is key for success.